Well, good evening once again. This is October 1st, 2020, our first Thursday night live for the month of October. We are very happy to have with us a pharmacist that she is going to be discussing the dangers of using multiple pharmacies and so on and so forth. So it's a pleasure to be in your home once again. Nous connaissons toujours là avec vous le jeudi soir en direct. Côté nous porter information pour vous, côté nous porter des informations pour la vie, pour notre vie pratique, qui va nous aider dans notre vie journalière. Donc, nous croyons que c'est très important de toucher aussi le naturel tout aussi bien que le spirituel. OK? Donc, le jeudi soir, c'est le naturel. Nous venons nous porter information qui est capable d'aider, OK, dans notre vie, dans votre vie journalière. Donc, nous croyons que question de pharmacie, hein, très important parce que pas gain yon nan nous k'ap gade live ça qui pas jamais entrer dans pharmacie qui al fill in a prescription. So, gen bagay pou kapab fè, gen bagay tou pou pa fè, pou pa riske santé ou dans ce sens-là. Donc, assoya nous gen avec nous Miss Ronette DuVernay Dominic. She is the managed care community retail pharmacist serving her community for well over 21 years. She earned her doctor in pharmacy degree from Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University in 1999 and has since worked in different settings from chain hospital, independent entrepreneurial startups, and managed care pharmacies. Her passion is to counsel, educate, and to meet the medication management needs of her community and beyond. She has been very active in the community, raising awareness on proper prescription medication use and other important issues affecting our population, like the census. She's now serving as the secretary of the board of the Haitian American Pharmacists Association. I would like you to welcome with me Doctor in Pharmacy, Ronette DuVernay Dominic. Welcome, Ronette.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for the introduction. And it's a privilege and an honor for me that Pastor Batroni to be with you tonight. And you can see that I almost said doctor because I've been working the whole day. And I deal with those doctors.
That's fine.
Doctor spiritual, a spiritual doctor.
Yes,
et merci pour l'introduction et c'est un plaisir et un privilège, un honneur pour moi capable avec toi soir et nous avons un pile point important que nous capable toucher et qui est capable d'aider la communauté.
Très bien, très bien.
We have many good points that we gonna touch tonight.
Absolument. Et encore, je te remercie d'avoir accepté l'invitation pour capable venir sur plateforme ça, côté le jeudi soir, nous informer, éduquer, nous bailler pile information pour nous capable aider population nous, spécialement communauté haïtienne qui des fois qui a lacune dans quelques areas ou bien quelques autres ou du moins c'est pas peut-être enfin des fois il y a lacune mais il y a des fois tout nous compte bagay yo mais nous pas songer yo, OK, donc nous porter des informations pour nous rappeler nous certaines choses qui capable aider nous. Donc Miss Dominic, please tell us about pharmacy. What is pharmacy?
Well,
the origin and all of that good stuff.
I can give you just a short history about pharmacy. And it's another name for pharmacy is apothecary. And this is a term that comes from Greek and Latin. And its origin from Greek and Latin, it means it's a storehouse. So what they used to do in the ancient time, they would get those herbs and then put them in sacks and store them. And pharmacy is very ancient. There is this ancient Babylon in Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia was located between two rivers, the Euphrates and the Tigris rivers. Very fertile ground to really grow herbs. So from there, you had nuns and priests. They used to uh, have those plants, those medicines, those herbal medicines in order to care for patients. So pharmacy goes back to antiquities. And from there, people use plants and herbs to treat patients. And with the number of patients being increasing and producing all these remedies becomes so great that give birth to pharmaceutical companies. And also there was a danger in when preparing those medications, they could not really measure the quantity of the active ingredients. People would be dying of too much or too little of the medication. Then that gives rise to the pharmaceutical companies as we know today. They have the technology to measure the amount of the ingredients that you need to take care of the patients.
Yes.
So in a nutshell,
Yes.
that's how
Okay.
I can
Thank you so much.
summarize that for you.
Okay. Merci pour l'histoire ça que vous faites pour pharmacie. Si je comprends bien, on dit comme ça que pharmacie, hein, c'est un dépôt, un warehouse, côté yo storé, ok, yo réservé des plantes, ok, et médicinales. Donc, je suis capable de dire à soi, hein, chaque Haïtien dans la communauté nous a une pharmacie presque. Si nous avons ça, la caille, est-ce que nous pas jamais moins comme un grand moun yo prend feuille yo et puis yo gon façon yo sécher yo mette yo dans plastique yo mette yo dans sachet just like you said. So in essence, nous gain pharmacie pas nous la caille nous. Mais gon l'autre bagay tout qui est important que ou dit que moun yo pas compte comment pour yo te gérer feuilles ça yo, herbes ça yo, plantes ça yo, bien que yo gen bon pour santé hein, mais si dosage là pas bon, si dosage là trop petit ou bien trop li capable tuer moun nan, c'est ça qui fait kounye hein, yo obligé faire appel à la science pharmaceutique pour être capable de prendre exactement mesure, dosage normal pour le prendre, pour poids, etc., pour poids comme l'âge, etc. OK. So, Miss Dominic, est-ce qu'on est capable de dire nous qui importance en monde qui a une profession en cours dans le domaine médical là, qui importance son pharmaciste?
Bon, moi-même, je suis capable de dire que pharmaciste jouer un très, très grand rôle dans la chaîne healthcare système. Mais en pile monde pas vraiment utiliser pharmaciste dans la façon que pharmaciste sont capable vraiment aider. Moun nan li connaît, li al nan docteur et puis docteur ouais, li ba prescription, la li fait le médicament, mais li pas connaît que après que li fin prend médicament ça, li gagne une grande opportunité de vendre pour li capable questionner pharmaciste là. Premièrement, moi toujours conseiller moun lo aller pour tes prescriptions, assurez-vous, make sure that you give your first and last name, because a lot of time the doctors they scribble the names and then people in the pharmacy have to decipher that. So en pile fois docteur pas vraiment pointe non, yo pas imprimer. Donc ou assurer que ou bay date fait tout. Même quand son pharmacie ou aller tout le temps, c'est pour toujours écrire date fait tout sous prescription pour assurer que le pharmaciste prend prescription, c'est moun sa prescription pour lui, c'est pour lui-même que le fait. Et puis, on l'autre bagage qui est très important, faut dire pharmaciste là, est-ce que vous avez allergie avec n'importe médicament? Le wal nan docteur a mandé yo gen nan chat là, mais ça pas empêché que des fois information ça pas transféré à pharmacie. Donc, li très important pour mettre sous prescription sous gen allergie. Very important. You tell the pharmacist if you have any kind of allergy. Many times that information is supposed to be given to the doctors, but we cannot rest assured that it's going to be transmitted to the pharmacy. So it's very important to do that. Now, when we have that prescription for you, we have to make sure not only it's for you, the intended person, we also have to make sure that that medication is in the right dose. We have to make sure that you don't have another medication that may interact with that drug. And I think Pastor Batoni will probably touch on that because that was the topic of the show, the polypharmacy, when you use more than one pharmacy. And that becomes critical when you're filling a prescription, because if you are juggling between different places, there are medications that will not be known to the pharmacist filling this actual prescription. So it's very important that you use one place for all your medication as much as it is possible.
OK. Miss Dominique, ou mentionne un bagage qui est très important, on dit que le moun nan rive dans pharmacie, il faut l'assurer que le bail non. OK, parce que docteur lui-même lui juste fanti, docteur écrit réellement vite et puis il écrit mal. Donc on ne doit pas make up the name for real. Sometimes mais touché on nous connaît que dans la communauté pas noire en Haïti en pile monde pas qu'on l'âge vraiment. OK, non seulement yo pas qu'on l'âge yo, deuxièmement gen bagay qui gen rapport avec des questions d'immigration là yo t'a vini. OK, soit yo te dit que yo pi petit ou bien yo dit que yo pi grand. So ça capable vinn poser un problème là. Moi-même, ces questions, ça me t'a posé tout de suite parce que vous mentionnez l'âge là. Donc, si moi, t'es sur Haïti, me dit que j'ai 5 ans en moins, ou bien 10 ans en moins, ou bien 5 ans en plus, ou bien 10 ans en plus, comment ça va le faire l'homme bral kay docteur pour me ranger dossier ça? Ou bien le mal kay dans pharmacien pour me dire pharmacien, well, ça y a sous dossier dans kay docteur, c'est pas ça non. Vrai l'âge moi c'est temps parce que autrement dosage là pas bon pour moi, dose non pas faire rien pour moi. Comment tu es capable d'aider un monde dans situation?
Bon, moi rencontré quelques cas comme ça dans la pharmacie, en côté que yo gagne un carte assurance et puis carte assurance là pas leur ou bill prescription dans assurance là et puis il dit bon date fête n'a pas marché parce que moun yo connaît que l'âge que yo ba immigration li pas bon, yo supposé ba docteur l'âge normal là. Et puis kounya là depuis que vous gagnez l'âge normal ou dans docteur, immigration pas pral vin nuit pour ça. OK? Ou supposé qu'on est que ou papier ou te bail dans immigration, même quand l'âge est différent, ou bail docteur l'âge normal ou parce que vie est capable dépendre de ça. Donc c'est de médicaments qui est capable ba ou dans l'hôpital, il pral dépendre de qui quantité qui l'âge ou gagné et puis on connaît qui quantité médicaments puis on calculer pour. Donc l'important pour kembe ça dans tête ou bay docteur l'âge normal ou. Kounya là nous même qui dans retail pharmacie parce que pharmacie gagne plusieurs settings dans l'hôpital là c'est pas un problème, il y a toujours ka bill assurance ou mais nous même dans retail assurance sans date ou te bay date ou gagné dans ID ou c'est lui même yo pral gagner date ou gagner dans social ou c'est lui même yo pral gagner dans assurance là et nous même le nous ouais ça nous juste dit patient regardez et assurance là rejeté il dit date ça pas bon et puis on dit bien oui mais telle date gagner et sous assurance et puis nous changer nous bail mais faut nous documenter que patient dit que il va fixer date là. Parce que si c'est pas ça, il est capable de les fraude. Donc, ou gagnons date dans prescription hein, et puis ou gagnons l'autre date dans assurance là. Then nous supposer que dire patient faut aller dans immigration, pas immigration, faut aller dans assurance, les assurance faire changer date là. Mais nous pas pral quitter patient aller sans médicament parce que nous capable mettre date là et puis nous dit patient pour aller pour régler problème date là. Mais c'est un gros point qu'on soulever, mais il est préférable que patient lui dit la vérité le que les docteur parce que l'hôpital une série de injections que au pral baou, il pral dépendre de l'âge et il est capable de faire vraiment différence dans le traitement.
Très bien. Donc, je crois que d'après ça, dit là, il est assez simple pour capable corriger ça pour ni l'âge ni l'âge normal mon vrai l'âge là, avec l'âge que yo dit que yo gagne docteur, il faut que deux chiffres ça yo alignés pour moun capable recevoir un traitement qui pral effectif qui pral travail pour lui autrement c'est laver monsieur à terre ou du moins c'est capable fatal tout pour moun nan.
That's right. Mais nous-mêmes j'aimerais dire nous capable régler problème nan mais c'est pas une pratique qui légale parce que prescription il supposé gagner date fait moun qui coïncide avec date qui n'a assurance là. Mais pour customer service ou un grand pile bagay que nous capable documenter pour patient pour nous capable permettre patient de joindre soin qu'il besoin pour moment mais nous toujours conseiller moun pour régler ça.
OK, très bien. Donc dans ce sens-là, je crois que l'important, même gens patient gagne une relation avec docteur pour une relation tout avec pharmacien ou bien pharmacienne moun cap servi li cap rempli prescription pour lui. Est-ce qu'on pas capable toucher sur ça? Qui est-ce que l'important parce que moi-même fais ça tout, manical prend en prescription et puis juste prendre me virer parce que moi que gain ligne gain monde derrière pas poser question. I don't have a relationship with my pharmacist. I don't know my pharmacist. I just go
missing out. Missing out.
I'm missing out. Okay, I confess, I'm missing out. So, est-ce que l'important pour nous capables de relation avec our neighborhood pharmacist? Pour me connaître dans une pharmacie, ma jeune docteur Honnête Duvernay et que le con histoire moi pretty much, li kon file le kon dossier même avec docteur. Est-ce que
très 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 important pour gagner information comme yon ami parce que ou supposé qu'on est pharmacien même gens ou gain docteur ou supposé qu'on est pharmacien parce que c'est dernier monde qu'on ouais dans chain care là. That's the last person you see in the chain. You know, you see the assistant of the doctor who do the screening for you before you see the doctor. Then the doctor consults you and wrote your prescription at the end of the visit. Now, your last chance to make sure everything goes well is with the pharmacist. Now, after the pharmacist fill out your prescription, you pick it up. You need to ask questions about that medication. If it's something that you've never got before, it's even more important. And then the pharmacist wants you to ask questions. They want to have that relationship with you. They want you to know what you're taking and what it is for. And a lot of time when you go to the regular chain drugstores, we look very busy. We look so focused. And people just don't feel comfortable disturbing us. But listen, we have to be focused. We are busy, but it's for you. It's to make sure that you get the right medication at the right dosage and to educate you when you pick it up, making sure that you know how to take it, when to take it. If you have any concern, questions, we want to we want you to be educated about your treatment, and we want that. Even though we are busy, but we cannot too busy for our customers, and that's part of our requirement to ask the patient when they come pick up the medication, if they have any question, and then any concern, that's the time to address it. And even after you leave the pharmacy, if you don't feel like you can disturb the pharmacist at the time because of a long line, you can go home and you can still call the pharmacy and ask question. And there are many other things that the pharmacist can do for you. Sometimes the prescription may not be the in the formulary that the insurance plan covers, and the pharmacist can call the doctor for you and find out if they would want to change it to something else that can do the same thing. There are many things that the pharmacist can do for you, and we are very accessible. You don't need to have an appointment to come and see the pharmacist. We open 24 hours in most places. Every corner you turn to, there is a chain drugstore there. So people don't know how they can use us and optimize their treatment. And we are available and we are accessible. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, very good. So it's important to have that relationship, just like you have it with your doctor, a trust relationship, patient, doctor, patient, pharmacist. So you optimize their services, and you also help optimize your health status, your health state, if I can say it that way.
And,
Um,
and another thing I wanted to add too, um, many time you can just go to the pharmacy with all your medications and they will sit down with you. They will review everything with you. Sometimes I see people who are taking meds and they don't know what they're for. They're just taking it. It saddens me, you know.
OK, so ça très important. On dit que moun yo, sou nan plusieurs médicaments, ou gen doit porter médicaments sa yo kote pharmacien nan pharmacien pour yo capable chita ensemble avec ou, pour yo capable instruire ou enseigner ou de qui ça, qui side effect, effet secondaire, etc.
Mhm.
Qui ça ou pense qui fait que moun, we are not aware. We're not aware that comme si pharmacienne yo disponible comme ça, yo accessible comme ça. Nous juste connaissons aller prendre assurance là, montrer carte là et puis prendre médicament aller. OK, ou du moins en pile fois me penser que c'est pas courtoisie moun nan dit any questions and you're like no. But if I could tell you how many questions I have, you would need the rest of the day to sit down with me, right? So, nous pensons que c'est juste par courtoisie. Donc, est-ce que c'est pas on manque dans le système médical, dans le système, dans le healthcare system overall in the States qui fait que le public n'a pas connaît ça vraiment. Là, nous allons dans la pharmacie, nous connaissons déranger, nous dérangeons. Parce que nous allons, nous drive-through. I mean, how much time do you have in your hand? And you're trying to fill up prescriptions and so on and so forth. So, nous juste un petit bag, nous allons la caille, nous avec yo. Comment ça tout là? Donc, yes, so I think it's very important that we do realize that que nous réaliser ça, que c'est tâche yo, c'est job yo ça pour yo capable aider nous et son plaisir pour yo tout, yo train pour ça pour yo aider population. Il y a une question que tu as touché sur les Dr. D, c'est que y a internaute qui a entendu, il dit que dans le domaine médical, le pharmacien a un pile important surtout dans l'hôpital inpatient. Surtout dans l'hôpital yo veille sur toutes conditions patient que yon l'autre monde ta capable manquer, que yon l'autre monde ta capable peut-être overlook par erreur et puis pharmacien yon doit catch li. Is that right? Est-ce que ou fait partie de team care là in terms of inpatient?
Dans la pharmacie, il y a plusieurs setups. The inpatient pharmacy, you have that dans l'hôpital. Dans l'hôpital, là, définitivement, pharmaciste là, li plus incorporé, li plus intégré, parce que faut regarder toute donnée patient, toute information patient devant pharmaciste là, et puis pour les capable faire préparation médicament. Donc, nous-mêmes, dans retail, nous pas gagné lab bio, même genre avec pharmacist. It's a different setting. Mais nous quand même, nous jouons un plan important tout. Parce que là que nous gagnons prescription patient, si patient gagne un remède que la prend, et puis nous voyons que le remède ça, il n'est pas capable de combiner avec médicament ça, c'est devoir nous pour nous capables relayer docteur et informer docteur. The setup is different, but the role is the same. We still have to do that. And drug interaction, drug duplication, tant que patient doit gagner plusieurs spécialistes que la loi. Donc, dans l'hôpital, là, pas de problème ça, parce que toutes données yo là, et nurse yo, tout spécialiste yo ouais patient ça. Donc, pharmaciste lui-même, il gagne tout données yo là, pas de problème duplication, parce que pharmaciste même là capable ouais tout bagay ça right there dans setup l'hôpital là. Mais dans ambulatory care qui c'est tant que les patients lui-même aller dans docteur ou bien yo exercer li dans l'hôpital là et puis li venir dans pharmacie li doit gagner yon remède d'être ces patients là le gynécologue li et puis yo bali yon crème pour hormone supplémentaire comprimé par exemple. Et puis il vient avec crème nan, et tandis que il te gagné un médicament pour cancer du sein que la prend qui gagne pour ouais avec même hormone ça et puis from the oncologist. So nous même connait là le nous ouais primaire nous obliger les gynécologues là pour nous dire OK patient ça il gagne tel remède là prend pour cancer, est-ce que vous voulez pour lui prendre même remède ça parce que une c'est anti receptor, you comprend? Donc, you n'a cancel the other. So, nous jouons même rôle ça tout, mais à un différent niveau, un différent aspect. So, c'est comme si we like the gatekeeper in a way pour patient.
That's very important. Nous gagnons question de Dr. D, Dr. Duvernay. There it is.
Is the med still effective after the expiration date?
Est-ce que le médicament est efficace après que vous fin expiré? Parce que
by law in the pharmacy, the time that we put that medication in the bottle, in general, because some medications they're good for 30 days. If we have to reconstitute that medication, the expiration date will be different. But in general, when it comes from the manufacturer, the moment we put it in the bottle, it's good for 1 year. Now, the bottle that we have, the original bottle, the expiration date may be a year or 2 years later. But since we remove it from the original bottle, once we change it and put it in that other bottle, the other vial, then the expiration date is 1 year from that day. But if we keep it in the original bottle, because some medications, they come in their original bottle, let's say you need 90 pills, and then the original bottle has 90 pills, a lot of time we don't need to change the vial, then that medication is good for the date, until the expiration date that's on it. But the moment that we change the bottle, it's 1 year from that day. Some people, they may choose to go ahead and take it, but legally we're not allowed to counsel people to take that beyond the expiration date that's on the bottle.
Even if it says that, I mean, even if you know that it's still effective 30 days after, right?
We have to follow the law.
Okay, I
Because it's a liability issue. The thing is, a lot of those bottles, they are light resistant.
understand.
They are tied the way those valves are. They're different. One bouteille yo pas même. So le moment que ou changer container, ou vin changer environnement pile là, ou pas qu'à garantir effectiveness médicament.
Ok,
Comprends?
ok. M kontan ou di sa parce que moi-même te fon eksperyans, m tal preche nan l'eglizon le, et puis m gon mal tête. Alors it was a long drive and I had a migraine. So mande eske yo pa gen un médicament pour mal tête? Et puis yo bon mon médicament.
Hmm.
Mais le lendemain, madame pasteur a dit nan ki bouteille ou yo te pran médicament ba ou. Et puis il me
Oh,
dit, bon, même bouteille ça. Et puis il dit, oh, c'est bouteille médicament tension belle même. Oui, c'est lui-même qui mettait médicament tension dans bouteille.
oh my God.
Migraine là. Mais moi-même, qu'elle prend une pilule qui pas pour mal tête, vraiment son pilule pour tension. Il
Oh
dit,
my goodness.
so, je suis capable de voir comment.
Mais est-ce qu'elle te travaille?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I was okay. I mean, I preached the Holy Spirit.
Sometimes psychologically it may do something.
I know, but I don't know. Bon Dieu était là. OK, me fait travail là et puis fini, mais c'est le lendemain, m'a pas prendre que c'est un mauvais médicament que le demande parce que seulement mon nan switch bouteille yo carrément. Donc ça c'est
Mhm. Il y a deux problèmes là qui présentent. Premièrement, mon nan changer remède yo. That's a big no-no. Comprendre? Le patient gagne remède dans une bouteille et puis il transférer dans l'autre. Si moun sa vin côté moi dans pharmacie, m'a pensé que médicament c'est ça lié. Docteur et puis même les bols qui sous li gen doit date là c'est pas un bon date, gen doit son date qui expiré. Et puis me pense médicament qui en dans expiré, là que c'est pas vrai. On l'autre problème tout c'est cher médicament. People are not supposed to share their medications. And that's for that reason. That's one reason too. Now you end up taking a blood pressure medication. Si c'est ton médicament qui était plus dangereux, qui était pour cœur, only God knows what would happen. So, c'est une raison qui fait yo di nous, puis gars nous séparer, puis gars nous share médicament, c'est pas candy lié, c'est pas surette, you know. It's not something to be shared with. If you have a bottle of Tylenol and you know that's a bottle of Tylenol or a bottle of ibuprofen, that's different. But if it's something that's prescribed to you by your doctor and you actually got it because you had a prescription, that's very dangerous to actually share that with others. Yeah.
yes, and I know also na communauté nou gen an pile médicament bootleg nou kapab di nan environnement côté ma moyen professionnellement. Le nou nan communauté yo dou que oh, oui, me prend ampicilline, prend tétracycline avant les règles ou bien après les règles. Ça permet que corps à laver, ça permet que corps à propre col, etc. Donc ça veut dire que il y a des gens qui sortent en Haïti avec ampicilline, avec tétracycline et puis apprend yo assez bien. Donc est-ce que ça sont pratiques que nous supposons continuer ou du moins si nous sentons peut-être nos fonds infection et puis nous juste pop some ampicillin ou bien some tetracycline.
That's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. First of all, in the field of antibiotic, we don't have that many choices in terms of antibiotics. So when we have a bacteria that is resistant, it becomes hard to treat that infection. And then it becomes a danger to the community because when this resistant bug infects other people in the community, then you end up infecting other people either in the hospital. Let's say somebody in the hospital infect other patients in the hospital, or maybe an employee get infected and then that spread in the community. Then you may not be able to get the medication to kill that bacteria. Because what happened when you take antibiotics, it kills bacteria. It kills the good ones, it kills the bad one. Now, if you don't have any infection, you just destroy your normal flora, and that can create problems for you as a person. You can have what they call super infection, where the bad bacteria grow more than the good ones, and then you end up with complications. The other issue is when other people in the community now get infected with that bacteria, and then they cannot find a good antibiotic that will kill this resistant bacteria. It's dangerous, and also not everything is treated with antibiotic. Even when you have a cold, a lot of time people get antibiotic for the cold. Even in the case of the COVID-19, they give people, let's say, Zithromax, but this is not really to kill the virus. It's just to prevent pneumonia, to prevent complication in the lungs. So a lot of time people just think they can just go and get antibiotic. It's the worst thing anybody can do, because when you actually have the infection that needs this antibiotic, it won't work, because the bacteria that you were supposed to kill has developed resistant to it, because those bacteria, that's very smart. They know how to change their structure so that later when this medication comes in, they don't get affected. So it's something that we have to educate our population to stop doing, not to take antibiotic just for the sake of it, because it doesn't help. It creates more problems and more complications for the person taking it, and for the rest of the community.
Yes, okay, very good. And there is gon lot danger encore et nou te intitulé programme nan kon sa danger ki genyen in multiple in getting your prescription filled in at multiple pharmacy.
That's another issue. A lot of time people don't know that it's important to have one pharmacy for every medication. They don't understand the dynamic in doing that. If you use one pharmacy, the the chance for you to have an interaction
In
with another medication that is not cut is very minimal or non-existent, because when we put your medication into the system, even if the pharmacist wouldn't see it right away, the system will flag it because you have all your medication in one place. But if you come to one pharmacy when you want to, and you go to the other pharmacy when you want to, now let's say the doctor prescribed a medication for your heart, and you go to the cardiologist, you come to my pharmacy, you feel a digoxin, something for arrhythmia, you feel it here. And then now you go to the other pharmacy because your PCP give you something for infection, let's say Zithromax. And those two medications don't go together because it will increase the effect of the heart medication. But none of the pharmacists knows that, because they are filled in different places, and we don't have a way to know that, and it becomes a danger. So the best thing is to adopt one pharmacy that you prefer to use. It can be because it's closer to you, or it can be because for whatever reason you have to use one place for everything. Now, there will be cases, let's say the pharmacy that you use is not a 24-hour pharmacy, and you come out of the hospital with a prescription that you need right away. It's okay. You go to the place that's closest to you and have it filled, but you make sure you call your pharmacy, your regular one, as soon as they open, and then you tell them, I came out of the hospital, I had this medication and I had it filled at that place. Can you transfer it to you? At least let the regular pharmacy know about that medication, and then they can transfer it. If it's a medication that has more refills to be used later on, they will transfer it, and then you'll have everything in one place. And also with the opioid epidemic that's affecting so many people in the population, it's recommended that you use one pharmacy so that people who normally would shop for these addictive drugs from one place to another, so they would stop doing that, so they can be tracked easier. So they want people to use one place, and it's better for the patient this way.
Ok, so di pharmacy hopping nan pa bon, parce que si moun nan gon dokteur ki pou ke, dokteur ke a bal on médicament, et puis li gon l'autre docteur a bal on l'autre médicament, li rempli, li pran médicament sa yo nan différents pharmacy, yon nan pharmacien yo pa konen ki sa l'autre la bay, donc li pa kapab edel, mais si moun nan rete nan on seul pharmacie, on seul pharmacien a gardé deux médicaments, il est capable de que deux ça n'a pas matché et que il est capable de causer des effets secondaires graves pour mon nom. Pharmacien ça capable de les docteurs pour dire mais cardiologue là bal ça et puis peut-être orthopédiste là bal ça qui l'autre médicament que nous pas parler c'est ça on veut dire. Donc puis you hop from one pharmacy to the next. Li pas bon. OK. Donc, ou te mentionné un bagay au début, ou te mentionné que filling out the census, remplir census là, est très important dans le domaine healthcare system. Là. Comment ça? Comment le voyer census là, bah, nous, recensement, pour nous remplir, comment le capable aider nous dans le programme santé que nous gagnons pour nous-mêmes, ou bien assurance surtout.
Ou connaît population nous, communauté nous vraiment besoin en pile aide financièrement. Et nous connaît avec coronavirus là, gouvernement est supposé voyer moun aller de porte en porte pour encourager moun qui pas rempli census là pour faire ça. Mais c'est pas facile à cause de pandémie. And from what I heard, the census was supposed to be ended yesterday, the 30th. And where you extend for this month, I'm not sure if they extended to the end of October or if it's up to the 5th, because there was a litigation about that. And the reason why I bring up the census, it's because everything that we need in the community depend on the census, including your health care. And we have a population that is very old. We have an elderly population. That means a lot of these people, they're on Medicare. And we have people in our community that are struggling financially. They are on Medicaid. And more than half of the money that the federal government gives to the state goes to healthcare, and that money funds Medicare and Medicaid. So that means if you don't fill out the census, you're giving away money. Each person worth at least $1,000. When you don't fill it, you give that money away, and that money doesn't stay with the government. It gives it to another community, to another state, because that's the reason why I wanted at least to mention that. If you think that you're not going to make a difference in not filling out the census, think again. And people are now worried about if they're not documented, and with all these new regulations or new concerns about immigrants. I understand the fear and the worry, but we have to do that, or talk to other people who may not have any immigration issues, at least to go ahead and fill that out, because our life depends on it.
OK, so Dr. D, est-ce qu'on est capable de dire ça encore en créole pour être capable de comprendre exactement ça et qui bénéfice qui gagne le rempli census là? C'est pas courir di nom, pas pral bay nom, etc. Mais qui bénéfice qui gagne en termes de santé, dans le système
Ça
santé.
que moi te dis, c'est que dans la communauté noire, ou connaît nous en Floride, en pile monde qui dans la communauté, yo monde qui est âgé, qui gagne plus que 65 ans. Donc, ça veut dire en pile dans nous dans Medicare. Mais parce que Medicare, c'est lui-même qui take care retirement monde qui âgé. Yo. Donc, c'est l'argent que vous même au travail. Et puis, on l'autre bagaille tout, c'est le gouvernement dit, mais combien de cob qui pour chaque state. C'est pas cob yo fait nous cadeau, c'est cob ou te travail, c'est cob yo prend sous l'autre travail dans taxe que yo a ba ou bac pour prendre soin. Pour là, l'on pas rempli census là, then l'argent ça, ou ba on l'autre communauté li. Et Medicare là, plus fort dans l'argent que yo bay là, c'est dans health là li. Medicare, Medicaid. Donc comme ça kounya là moun ki nan Medicaid, c'est moun qui pas gen moyen, c'est moun qui besoin qui a struggle financially. So kounya là l'argent Medicaid ça, let's say yo compter c'est 500 000 moun qui dans communauté et pourtant gen deux fois la valeur ça, l'argent y a bay pour Medicaid là. C'est l'argent pour aider 500 000 moun et pourtant il y a 1 million de moun qui là. Donc imaginons là aller dans centre de santé, si un centre de santé dans zone là, tant qu'on connaît centre là ou une commune une centre communautaire qui dans North Miami, moun sa yo dépendant pile de cob que yo pral bay dans communauté so ça veut dire yo gen doit bay moun sa yo cob pour aider quantité moun ça et pourtant deux fois la valeur moun pral dans officio et puis yo pas gen moyen pour aider yo. Donc si ou même ou pas capable remplir census là pour quelque soit raison, c'est pour aller dans centre communautaire tant que dans centre là, y a aider ou y a montrer comment pour faire et puis tout nous même tout qui pas gain aucun issue avec immigration, c'est très important pour nous remplir forme parce que son besoin collectif leur fait ça ou pas seulement aider tête ou aider tout le monde leur non communauté ou gain un groupe monde qui pas gain care yo malade si yo gain une infection qui pas qu'à traiter ou gain risque parce que monde ça li doit c'est lui même qui a clean toilette dans côté travail gen doit c'est lui même qui dans cuisine cap lave assiette dans restaurant et puis li gain une maladie une infection qui pas qu'à traiter parce que li pas gain Medicaid li pas gain aide ou li affecte tout vous comprenez indirectement.
Wow, ça c'est très profond, c'est très fort. Ça veut dire que vous avez assurance, que vous pas gain, que ou même vous avez assurance, ou pas gain réellement gain besoin pour Medicaid là. Donc l'offre fait là où des populations at large. En gros, donc it's for the common good and not just like individually, it's collectively. L'offre fait ça avec des toute communauté parce que si mon est malade vraiment, même si ou riche ou même et puis aller dans un restaurant et puis mon a une maladie qui peut-être qui est capable de transmettre one or another although ou pas dans même bracket social ou bien économique avec mon ça va venir affecter population générale là. Nous avons l'autre question. I'm going to put it on the screen. And please, if you do have a question, we do speak English as well as Creole, as well as French. If you do have a question and you do happen to hop on this live, please feel free to ask it. Dr. D will make it her pleasure, her privilege to answer that question. Here we go. I'm going to put that on the screen for you. How is the process of getting routine meds refill if visiting a different state? That's a very good question.
Very good question. For routine medication, maintenance medication like your blood pressure medication, your hypercholesterol medication, it's not a problem. What you do, you go to that pharmacy, wherever state you end up in, and then you it's either you call that pharmacy if you have their number or you go to the pharmacy and then you tell them this is the medication I'm taking. You give them the bottle because when you give them the bottle then the pharmacist knows exactly what to do instead of you giving them the phone number and everything. So they will call that pharmacy, the information that's from the label, that's from the bottle that we give them. They call the pharmacy, and then they will transfer the medication to wherever you are. So it's not a problem at all. Now, if you go out of state, like out of country, if you go outside of the country, that's something else. So, but within the United States, you can transfer your medications from pharmacy to pharmacies. It's not a problem. But let's say you come back to your state. Let's say you went on vacation for like 3 months and then you come back. It's the same process. We transfer them back. It's not an issue at all. For people who go outside of the country, the government allow you to have 3 months worth of medication. And then if it goes beyond, if you go on vacation beyond that, that's another issue. But you can have 3 months worth of medication, you fill them, and then you go on vacation anywhere outside of the country, because we won't be able to transfer outside of the country. But you can have your full 3 month supply and go wherever you want to go outside of the country. And within the state, within the country of the United States, you can transfer those refills between pharmacies. That answered the question. Okay, somebody is saying that li rempli sensis la nan me, et puis yo voye yon lot pou li. Sûrement, lè ke ou te rempli lan, mail sa te deja nan wout. Parce que de pou te rempli yon fwa, ou pa bezwe rempli lankor. Donc, si ou ta rempli lankor, ou gen dwa rempli, mais voye l'ale, mais de pou te deja fè li, pou bien so te fè an, li deja nan sistem nan. En pile fois, mail lan te gen tan nan wout, d'après moi-même, gen dwa se sa k fò recevoir lankor. How do you talk to your insurance company when they choose to not cover med that you usually take about the medication choices? Very good question. The insurance company has a formulary. The formulary says this is what they pay for you. This is what they don't pay for you. However, if they choose not to pay, let's say the medication that you need is not in the formulary, there are two things. The pharmacist can call the doctor and ask the doctor if they want to change it. And there are most of the time other alternative. In cases where the doctor said, no, I don't want to change it, this is what I want for my patient, then there are two things. The doctor can fill out a form. They call it a prior authorization form, and submit it to the insurance. What that does, it explains to the plan why the doctor wants that medication. And if the plan still refuses to pay, there is what they call an appeal. You can appeal the decision to the insurance plan. And most of the time, they will submit. They will go ahead and pay for it.
So much for that. Let's talk a little bit about the flu season.
Definitely.
And the flu vaccine. So I just went on Monday and got mine. That thing burned me for 3 days. I'm telling you right here, people, right here.
That's a good side effect. That means it's working. Just kidding.
So, listen,
but it's expected. After 3-4 days, you should be fine.
Ok, je me pose une question. Quand je suis dans le bras gauche, je me dis que même pas boké.
That has nothing to do with it. That's better. The heart will be stronger.
Je dis bon même pas boké. Habito me pas bon droite là habito. But c'est jodi hein, li pas fait mal encore parce que li fait mal, li gratte, li brûle.
That's expected.
That's
That's expected.
expected.
As long as it goes away, that's expected. Now, this is the flu season. And one thing too, pharmacists does give vaccines. I forgot to mention that.
Yes, I
Okay?
found out because
We
I went to my clinic, to the clinic for my organization, and they do have. I mean, I went to Walgreens, and my organization has a clinic there, and yeah, she gave me the thing,
the
li ban mwen vaccin, but li ba dim kon sa ke expect this, expect that. I just
and we're supposed to let you know about that. There is what they call the VIS, which is the information about what to expect after you take the vaccine. We have to explain to you what to expect and give you that form so that you can read on it. Very important to get vaccinated because you don't want to confuse COVID-19 with the flu. So if you take the vaccine, that will prevent you from getting the flu, and that will make it harder for you to get the COVID-19 because once your immune system is already down, then it makes it easier for you to get sick.
I beg to disagree. Pas d'accord parce que gen de l'on prend, c'est less for malade. C'est à tort malade. L'on prend flu vaccine. So
Well,
I
it's
don't know what happened in 2018, but nous tout te prend, nous tout qui nan ap travail dans même côté, nous tout te malade.
this is one thing you have to remember. After you get vaccinated, it takes 14 days for you to develop the immunity. So within that spend time, within that timeline, you may have been in contact with a virus that give you the cold and then you transmit it to other people, but it's not necessarily the vaccine. And I can bet after that you didn't get sick again for the rest of the year, if not for the next 2 years.
Listen, listen, all I know, I took it in December, and by March, everyone was sick. Everybody,
It takes time before it develops, 14-day period at least.
14
But
days.
it's good to take the flu vaccine so that you don't have confusion. Is it COVID or is it the flu? You don't want that. So get vaccinated with the flu vaccine and you wear your mask, wash your hands, keep your distance because we have to find a way to live with that pandemic.
Yes. Okay. Yes, you can get, okay. Yes, you can get also sick from different strains of infections.
Yeah,
Miss Adlin says she's in the medical field, so she.
that's right. Because the vaccines normally covers 3 or 4 strains of the virus.
Mhm.
So yeah,
So if it doesn't cover it, then you can get sick from the
from
strain
the other one.
it
Yeah,
didn't
from the
cover.
other ones that are not in the vaccines.
Got you. I won't challenge the medical, I won't challenge it. But I
That's the best we have. We use what we have.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, I don't think we have any more questions, and we're about 1 hour. I do thank you. You were very, very, you gave us a lot of information, a lot of things to process, a lot of things to think about, because I personally did not have a relationship. Back on no pharmacist, moi, just qu'on aime aller, m'prenti sachet, go home and
That's
start
gonna
reading.
change now.
Yes, that's gonna change. That's gonna change. If there is not any other question, and if you don't want to add anything, I think we're just gonna end this broadcast. And it's been so great to be with you, to be with the audience. I thank you guys for watching, and I'm gonna ask you to share on Facebook. Also, if you're on YouTube, you can share, you can like, you can comment, and you can subscribe. So if there is nothing else, would you like to add anything else, Dr. D?
Well, I thank you so very much, Pastor Batoni, for the wonderful work that you're doing in our community. You don't just take care of our spiritual life, you also care about our physical life. And we know that God will reward you for that and will bless you and bless your family. And I thank everyone who took the time to watch us. And I want you to know that the pharmacist wants to be your friend because we are in a very important uh, person in the chain of the healthcare. We are very accessible, we are very knowledgeable, and we care. So make use of our service because it's available to you. Know your medications, know your pharmacist.
Wow, thank you so very much. Thank you. May God bless you. And thank you for those encouraging words. This is what it's all about, helping people, helping one another, loving the others as we love ourselves. And I know not just the spiritual, because sometimes we spiritualize, over spiritualize everything, and we do not live in the natural, which can be very detrimental to our life, our the abundant life that we're called to live in Christ Jesus. So, Dr. D, thank you so much. And guess what? You may come back to this platform anytime when you have something hot going on, okay, some new issue going on with our community. Please feel free to give me a call. Say, hey, I need to come on here and talk to our people.
That's right. The voting is coming up.
Oh yeah, yeah, that too. And we know your brother. You know Robert Duvernay. The real deal is all
That's
about that. Yes. Thank you so very much, and God bless you. Good night. Stay there. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to take you off screen. So, ladies and gents, we thank you so much for being here again. October 1st. This is what we had for you on Thursday Night Live, le jeudi soir en direct. Nous croyons que vous avez joué en pile information qui capable transformer, qui capable aider dans la vie journalière. And next time you take a trip to the pharmacy, remember the pharmacist, your neighborhood pharmacist, they are your friend. They care. They are accessible. They have knowledge to share with you. So make use of that to repeat Dr. D's words. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'm not sure if I will come on tomorrow morning because of the of what I talked about this morning, and this weekend is kind of really busy for me. But keep an eye out, okay? And let's stay in prayer for the month of October, November, December, so we can pour nous jamber année strong in the Lord as it is the Lord's will. Okay, Miss Adlin, I'm sorry to do that to you, Dr. D. I have to bring you back on. Miss Adlin would like to know if you recommend, I'm not sure if she will be able to answer that for you because it is a personal, something personal. That's the question. I'm going to bring you back, Dr. D. So sorry about that. But she's insisting on you answering that question.
definitely, yes. We should take the COVID vaccine when it comes available. And right now, they are recruiting people in the minority population because of all the negative history when it comes to vaccines and Black people in this country. Many of us are skeptical, but the time is different. The technology is different. So we can be assured that it's not going to be the way it has happened before. And then they need people like us to be volunteering so that they can see how it works in our population. Yes, definitely, we have to take that. Yes, we should.
All right, thank you, Dr. D. And that puts an end to this broadcast. God bless you guys. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you. And may the Lord turn his face towards you. May he give you peace in Jesus' name. Good night. Again, until we see you again, God bless you. Be well.